Like what I wanted was emotional intimacy, but I kept going to people who were willing to give physical intimacy and nothing else.
You wanted an emotional support trout and you kept getting slutty salmon.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a t-shirt with a slutty salmon on it. Swimming upstream.
There's something coming over me. I never ever felt so free. I'm flying out the energy. Yeah, I'm feeling kind of crazy. Everything's so amazing. Yeah, I jump so high. I hit the sky. I can't believe I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Never thought I could dream so big, but it's all so good. Yeah,
I'm Sammy Amounts. This is Happy Slut. Welcome back, Pine Cones. Quick content warning. This episode talks about mental health struggles and sexual assault. Listen with care. Okay, I'm bringing you a very special treat this week. Oh, I'm so excited. For those of you who've been with me since I released the first season of Closet Ed nearly a year ago now, you'll remember today's guest from episode 10, titled, My First Boyfriend Suffered a Lot Because My Sex Drive Was Too High. Now, back then, Mina was closeted and anonymous, but now she's out of the closet and she's ready to share her updates as herself. That's right. A formerly anonymous guest is back to share her newfound freedom from the closet. And this conversation is just as deep and vulnerable as our last one was. Also, just as fun. Now, if you haven't heard Mina's episode of Closet Ed, please, I highly recommend you go back and listen to it. I've put a link to it in the show notes, or you can just scroll back to the beginning of this podcast feed and find it there. It's episode 10. I really think you should listen to that before this because it'll give you some wonderful context and you can appreciate the full arc of Mina's incredible story if you do. But if you're eager to get into today's episode, here's the nutshell. As a young Korean woman studying abroad in the UK, Mina's first sexual experience was an assault that left her traumatized. Then, thanks to the patience and love of her first boyfriend, she was able to begin reclaiming her sexuality. That led to her finding a sexual mentor. Upon returning home to Korea, a man named Ted. I've also slept with Ted. You can hear all about that in Mina's episode of Closet Ed. Ted is plugged into the underground swinger scene in Korea, and for a while, he was Mina's number one guy, although she always had other partners. Also, as she was expanding into her sexuality, she was still living with her parents who had no idea any of this was going on. And the reason I'm having Mina on the show today is because she started doing stand-up comedy, and she sent me a clip that could not have been more on brand for this show. I'm going to play it for you now. But if you're only listening on audio and not watching on video, it is in Korean with English subtitles. So for you audio listeners, I'm going to translate. Okay, here we go.
아까 윤지님이 막 무슨 성상납을 하고 싶네 이런 소리 하셨잖아. 와 진짜 엄청난 걸레적 발상이다 뭐 이런 생각을 하셨었는데 아 날이 걸레입니다.
Okay, so in this clip, Mina is talking about a friend of hers named Yoonji, and she starts by saying, Yoonji just said, she's like, oh, I want to offer my sex. She said stuff like that. You might have thought, wow, what a slutty idea. She's a poser slut. That's when she gets her first big laugh from the audience. Someone from the audience screams out, you're a real slut. And Mina says, yes. She goes on, a true slut, a great slut, the grand slut is me. And the audience cheers for every line. Now, Korea still has an incredibly sex-negative culture. This is an extraordinary sign that that culture is shifting in spite of all of the forces trying to keep the old ways in place. Mina is evidence that things are changing. All right, that was enough from me. I'm really excited for you to hear our conversation. So here is Mina. Mina, welcome to Happy Slut.
Thank you for having me.
So excited you're here. So this is a first. You're my very first Closet Ed guest who is now comfortable being out and is here on Happy Slut, my new show, to talk about updates since the last time we talked.
Which was like 2 years ago.
Which was 2 years ago, and your episode came out almost a year ago. So first off, we left you at a point where you had multiple sex partners, but Ted was your number one. Ted was your number one guy. You called him your number one guy.
Yeah.
We talked about how you really wanted a partner, and you described Ted as being kind of your ideal, except the problem that he's already married and has Angela, and like there's really no room in his life for you like that. And you were living with your parents, and that is where we left you. So,
yes.
Where are we at now? It's been 2 years. What's happening?
Oh, so much has happened and so much is happening. So, first of all, I am no longer seeing Ted, and the way how I would put it is that I graduated from him.
Huh.
He was my very first partner, and we prefer to call it friends, because partners sounds like law firm. But yeah, he was my mentor in so many things, and especially in exploring my sexuality. But I felt like, he has taught me quite enough and a lot. And as you just said, that I wanted something that Ted could not simply provide. So it just made sense that, I moved on from him. I mean, we ended things amicably, and I wish him and Angela well. They've been so nice and sweet to me. And I will always cherish all the nasty things I did with him.
Okay. I love it. So you've graduated from the University of Ted. It's been how long since you and Ted parted ways?
It was earlier this year. So it's been about like a little short of like half a year now. Yeah, I would say.
Okay. All right. And what's your sexual landscape looking like now, Mina? Are you slutting out? Are you a happy slut?
I am. This is probably the most like on-brand show that I could possibly be. Like, I am indeed a happy slut, and I am the happiest and the sluttiest I have ever been.
That's amazing. Yay! I love to hear it. Okay, so let's get into specifics. Who are you seeing? Why are you so happy? What's going on?
Yeah, I am so happy because I finally feel like I am my own woman.
Right,
you
more.
feel that?
Say
like
more.
Yeah, like
I feel it.
You feel it here. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am finally in control. I have the agency, and I feel like now I am not really being dragged by my sexuality, but rather than, I feel like me and my sexuality are finally in a good relationship, like a healthy friendship.
I love
is
that.
how I would put it. Yeah, because I'm not as active or as experimental as I used to be. I definitely have less people that I regularly have sex with. I am definitely less experimental in terms of wacky things I try or the wacky people I try. But I finally feel like, it doesn't feel like some sort of like a sport anymore. Because I admit that there was a point of time that I used the sex almost as a way of like, it was like almost like an escapism for me from all the troubles or the things that I didn't necessarily want to face in my life or my past. Now my whole family knows about my struggle with mental health. Like, I've had like really deep discussions and talk, like really, really deep talk with lots of tears, and they were difficult conversations, but we had those conversations with my mom a few months back, and with my dad only like last month or so. And I feel like I was able to have those conversations because I left my previous job And I also I left many things. I left many things that were kind of stressing me. I left many things that were toxic to me. And I cut out, toxic environment or toxic relationship. And that sort of almost like cleared the fog out of my mind and out of my brain, so that I was able to finally see things clearly. And I was ready to have the conversation, the tough conversation. Because if you remember, I was living with my parents and I was going out every night to find different suitors, and the family that I lived with shared the domestic environment with, and that we deeply care about each other, and yet they knew nothing about like where I was or what I was doing or what I was struggling with. But now I feel like all those puzzles were kind of coming together. Me sort of like moving on from many different things in the past made me ready to face the deepest fear, which was I wasn't worried about my parents like judging me or anything, but I was more worried about their feelings getting hurt if they found out about like my traumas, for example, their heart would break. But I realized that some things need to be broken in order to be rebuilt. Mm.
Are you saying that you needed to sort of break their hearts a little bit in order to have a truly connected relationship with them?
It was almost like this breaking this like facade of this perfect daughter. I was not that. Nobody is really. And especially, I want to say in the Asian community. And I believe like many immigrant families would relate to that, because the first generation has sacrificed so much that the second generation, they feel this burden that they really need to live up to the expectation, or like they need to do as much grinding as their parents did.
To make all
And,
that
and
sacrifice worth it.
exactly. And I feel like with, South Korea, as you know, has gone through so much development in such a short span of time that every generation, what they've been through is so different. My grandmother, God rest her soul, who raised me, she was born in the colonial time and she's been through, Korean War and everything. And my parents' generation, my father was a young man when South Korea was under military dictatorship, and he fought for democracy, and that was also a tumultuous time. And now here I am. So these different generations, I am so aware of how much hard work my parents had to put into in order to raise me. And I definitely felt that pressure. And I didn't want to not only disappoint them, but I didn't want to make them worry. And I didn't want their hearts to break because they care for me. And anything bad that has happened to me, if they know about it, and then they would be sad. And I didn't want to make them feel sad. But you cannot be happy 24/7. Like sometimes, there are happy days, sometimes there are sad days. And I thought, if I am ready to face that truth that, I cannot always be happy and my life cannot always be rainbows and sunshines, then the people that are closest to me, my family, they ought to know all of me, all the not so fun, not so tricky, fun side of me as well. Because at the end of the day, that, including those not so fun sides, I'm just a whole package. So you're going to have to deal with that. And yeah.
This is amazing. This is actually so beautiful, because what you're describing is a long period of time, most of your relationship with your parents, where you were hiding from them in order to spare them the pain of knowing that their daughter was suffering. You were dealing with mental health issues. When you went to university in the UK, your first sexual experience was an assault. You hid all of that from them, and then you hid your whole sex life from them. But it went back to being in middle school and hiding being depressed over losing a girlfriend. So this is tremendous, because what you've done is you've given your parents the opportunity to fully see you and fully love you and support you, which from what you've described to me, they've always wanted to do. But there was always a wall up because you were kind of protecting them from the reality of what you were living through. Wow. Mina, that is so deep. I want to talk more about what got you to that point. And I also want to talk about the juicy, fun, sexy stuff that's happening.
Oh, yeah.
So first, let's talk about a major development that probably helped you with all of this. You were living with your parents.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now?
I moved out.
When did you move out?
It was summer last year. So it's been like a little over a year now. Yes. This is the first time I'm truly like by myself.
Wow. This is so cool. So now I'm dying of curiosity. You said that you are the happiest and sluttiest that you've ever been, but you also said you cut a lot of things out of your life. I want to know what you cut out of your life, like specifically, and like how you did it.
Yeah.
And I want to know what is new in your life that is making you so happy right now in detail. Like I know you said like, I feel like I have agency, but like specifically, what does that look like for you?
Right. So in order to get me here, that took another intervention from my friends.
Wow.
And this time they cut me off. We made up now. So we still talk to each other and see each other. Maybe not as frequently as we used to, because we used to give each other like life update by the minute, which was like probably a lot of oversharing.
So wait, your friends had an intervention, but it sounds like it wasn't really an intervention this time. It was more of a we're done with you kind of talk, although that didn't last, which is great. But what were they done with?
So basically, I was kind of like in this rabbit hole of like self-destructive behaviors because I was just so lost and longing for some form of like stability, or like I was deeply lonely and so the biggest problem that a person can have is not knowing the fact that they have a problem. And obviously I was not aware because, as I said, it took my friends cutting me off completely.
What were the self-destructive behaviors? How did that manifest? How was it affecting them?
Definitely my sex life was one of them, because now in retrospect, I see that there was definitely an element of addiction as well. What I was looking for was emotional support, but because I was not getting enough of that, I was kind of like replacing it with physical intimacy, but it was never really fulfilling the thirst that I had. So it was heartbreaking for my friends to be watching me just wearing myself out, because they were witnessing that I was becoming more and more miserable. And also, so my grandmother passed away, and she raised me. And
I'm so sorry, Mina.
Thank you. And that was that definitely had a huge impact on my mental health as well. And I was so lost and sad, and I was putting myself in a lot of danger and a lot of risks. Sexually, I was not being as careful, and I was not really respecting myself.
Did you abandon your 4-step process for a while there?
I was like becoming more lenient on those, and I would sometimes just like full on ignore those rules, and I was putting myself at risk, physically. And I've had like encounters of some violent people, like dangerous people, abusive people. And yet, like when you experience those things, like if you are sane, you would stop what you're doing. But I was like this unstoppable chariot. I couldn't handle the acceleration that I already got, and I was like this road rage car with my brakes not working. So it was my friends who had to put a brake on me. And it was this shock of them cutting me out that made me realize just how bad things were. And obviously that realization didn't come right away because at first the shock was too big that for the longest time, I was just staying mad and confused, but it took a lot of contemplation to realize that, oh, I was at a really, really dark place. And it must have been so difficult for my friends to cut me out. And now what I see is that I think of it almost as this like a Buddhist enlightenment almost that, in Buddhism and Hinduism, in Hinduism, the god of destruction is also the god of creation.
Mm-hmm.
In order to create, you need to destroy. And when my friends cut me off, that was the biggest heartbreak that I ever experienced in my life because I've never loved anyone as I loved my friends because they're family. I've never loved no man, no romantic partner has ever come close to me loving my friends. Female friendship is so deep. So that was the biggest heartbreak. And probably them loving me was the biggest love I've ever received because their love was something you would give your family. I was completely destroyed when my friends left me. And it took that destruction in order to rebuild perspective and priorities brick by brick. Because I realized that I was basically chugging too much junk food. What I really needed was good, healthy food, good nutrition, a good partner, a good relationship, good men. I deserve good men and good sex partners, but I was not giving myself that. And I was just chugging junk food, whatever I could reach my hands on. And my friends were witnessing that I was poisoning myself and basically killing myself little by little. It took a lot of courage for them to do what they had to do. And that made me rebuild that, oh, I've been putting these junk food of men on higher priorities when it's these girls who love me are the real priorities. And I am the real priority. Because what good does it bring for them to break my heart? Like it gives them no tremendous wealth. It gives them nothing but mutual heartbreak. They did it, not because they're getting anything out of it, but they love me. And I had to tell myself that I am deserving of that love. I had to give myself that love as well.
I love these compassionate terms that you're describing this in. And obviously you've got the perspective of like some time passing since this happened.
Yeah.
But how did you do that? And when in time did this happen? Was this around the same time that you released Ted, or did it happen before? Were those two things playing into each other?
Here's the thing about ADHD. You are really bad with time.
Did it happen before or after you and Ted split up?
It was before.
Was the situation with Ted contributing to these self-destructive tendencies and this loneliness that you were having?
I feel like, it wasn't necessarily that Ted was destroying me, but it was more like, he wasn't really helping when it comes to me being an independent being, like getting on my 2 feet. He allowed me to be dependent on him instead of like slapping me and go like, wake up, girl. Like you need to get your shit together. But he would just like embrace everything and let me lean on him, which was very comforting at that time. But you cannot lean on somebody forever, especially not somebody who cannot be yours wholeheartedly.
And who can't give you the emotional support that you would need and want from somebody you were leaning on that much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because he wasn't your partner.
Yeah. He wasn't mine to claim. And yet I was leaning on him. but he wasn't available always. So when I'm trying to like lean on him and he's not there, I would just fall and stumble upon junk food of men.
Yeah. So would you say that breaking up with Ted was one of the things that you let go that was no longer serving you, that you needed to destroy in order to build something new?
I just had to be on my own 2 feet, and he's always had nothing but good intent for me. He wanted to protect me and be there for me, but it's just that, his circumstances was that he couldn't be always. So I had to learn how to walk on my own 2 feet and live my life.
All right. So you hit a rock bottom, it sounds like, since the last time we talked. And that's crazy
Oh, yeah.
because the last time we talked, you were in a pretty good place. So a lot can happen in 2 years. And you also were in your late 20s the last time you talked, and now you're in your early 30s. So that's the whole Saturn returns time, which I'm not actually believing in astrology, but a lot of people do go through some major shifts, mental health issues, huge transitions in their late 20s. That's just a fact.
Yeah, that's true.
So you hit a rock bottom. You got cut off by your friends who love you, who had staged an intervention in the past that was successful. And it sounds like this one was also successful, but more extreme. And you really had to go through the emotional trenches to get through it. But you fucking did. And now you live on your own. Ted is no longer in your life in that capacity. You have your friends back. It's a more mature relationship.
I would say so. The relationship that I have with my friends is more mature, and the relationship that I have with my partners are definitely more mature. I have a great story, actually. So I met this guy recently, quite younger than me, tall, fit, cute and hot at the same time, which should be that's just not fair, but great.
You're cute and hot at the same time. So there.
Thank you. Well, so are you. So I guess we're all
so cute
rules.
and so hot.
Yeah, so I met him, and he and we ended up having really, deep and interesting conversation about sex and sexuality. And we learned that we match each other's sluttiness.
Yeah, that's very important.
I listened to his story and it sounded like, you sound like you need a sex partner or like a friend with benefit. And I normally don't do this, but I offered first. I said that, hey, if you're looking for someone to be your friend with benefit, count me in. I'm willing to give it a go. So we gave it a go. We are both physically great. We know what we're doing. So there was nothing wrong with each other physically. He knew how to fuck. I knew how to fuck. We both did our parts. We did great jobs. But it's just that there really wasn't much chemistry. So the morning after, we had lunch and we had a walk. It's sunny outside with the breeze and we were holding hands and we talked deep. We talked about family. We talked about trauma. We had really, really deep, passionate conversation about our mutual interests. And he told me that, so about last night, I actually prefer, and I actually had a better time having lunch with you and talking with you and holding hands with you and walking with you than the sex that we had last night. And I was like, do you know what? Actually, I kind of saw that coming because the way how you looked at me last night, you didn't have crazy eyes. And when men are into me, they have crazy eyes. But you had sane eyes.
Sane eyes.
So I could feel that, okay, maybe he's not that into me. So I kind of saw that coming, and I really appreciated his honesty. I was like, okay, so we gave it a try, and I am attracted to, when I see crazy eyes, that's what makes me go crazy.
I know what you mean.
If you don't have crazy eyes for me, then I'm not attracted to you either. So, okay, our sexual chemistry, we gave it a try. It's not as sparkly and fireworky as we would like it to be. However, we very much do like each other's company, and we very much do like each other as two individuals. So how about friends without benefit? And he was like, friends with platonic benefit, let's. So that day, during that chat, holding hands, turns out we have the same taste in women. So instead of us fucking each other, we should have fucked one girl, threesome style. So we figured out that we had it all wrong. Oh my God. We need to be each other's wingman or wing woman, wing person.
Yes.
So I am involved in lots of like social events and gatherings and groups and that which involves a lot of like English speakers in Seoul. So I suggested him, if I ever come across a girl your type, I will send her your way. And he was like, I know some hot clubs loaded with sexy guys. I will take you there. So I was, in a way, I was rejected, but I didn't take it personally. I didn't get my heart broken, because back in the days when I was seeking affection from people who were not willing to give me affection, all they wanted was physical intimacy. And I was basically knocking on the wrong door. Like when you're trying to fish for cod, you should go to a pond where the cod is. But I kept fishing with the salmon pond, is how I would put it. Like what I wanted was emotional intimacy, but I kept going to people who were willing to give physical intimacy and nothing else.
You wanted an emotional support trout, and you kept getting slutty salmon.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a t-shirt with a slutty salmon on it. Swimming upstream. Oh my God. Okay, I love this. Did you guys ever fuck a girl together?
Not yet. I think it should happen at some point.
And you've been wing personing each other.
Yeah, so I feel like this was such a mature conversation and mature friendship, because we gave it a try. Didn't work, but none of us really hurt each other's feelings. We were honest and we were respectful, and we kept things amicable and kept it going, but it's just in a different direction. As an adult, like when you're mature, you learn to pivot, and we did that, I think.
So who are you having sex with right now?
Recently, weirdly, I had some departures in a row, which is like quite coincidental, because I feel like, old guys are moving out, and then I had this like empty nest period, and then like new guys are moving in. So the friend that I have with the best sexual chemistry like ever has decided to go on working holiday. So he left the country. And the month before, the most handsome one among the guys that I was fucking moved to Jeju Island because he got a new job there.
Damn it.
And I was like, of all the places you had to just go to an island. So I phoned all my friends in the island. They were like, hot guy coming! Go get him, girls!
You're a good wing woman.
If I can't have him, then you might as well like somebody else. Like
Somebody
other
should
girls
have
should
him.
enjoy.
Yes.
Exactly. And the month before, the most well-endowed guy of all the guys that I was having sex with, he said that he thinks that he's about to get a girlfriend, so he needed to sort of end things with me. So we also ended things amicably, but it was kind of like month after month after month. It was like one guy after another guy, just like moving out of my pool of partners. So I was kind of like, okay, time for recruitment. So the HR department had been closed for a while because I thought, I have enough people to have sex with. So I was like, no vacancy kind of a thing going on for a good half a year, I would say, because I haven't been really looking for a new partner since the end of last year or the beginning of New Year. I have a slave though. We'll get into that later.
I'm obsessed with you. I'm obsessed with you. I have a slave, though, casually. Okay. All right. So you had all these guys move out.
Yeah.
And it's created some space.
It has created some space. So I kind of like contemplated on like opening up HR again. But then I was like, no
your
rush.
personal sexual HR department is what you're saying. Like your personal
exactly. You know, all those
hunting.
Yeah. Those questionnaires, get the paperwork done and then,
the spreadsheet,
job interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Spruce it all up.
So I was like, okay, maybe time to reopen the HR department, but then like no rush. But then the magical thing about the circle of life is that I was just staying quiet and staying put. But then the influx, they come to me, the most good looking one. I found a really good looking one. I had to let go of the most well endowed one. A very well endowed gentleman has come into the picture. So I'm like, okay, it's like missing puzzles, but then like all these like puzzles are coming back in. So I'm like, oh yeah.
Blessings abound. The universe provides.
Exactly.
So you've already replaced these guys. They landed in your lap, the new ones.
Yeah, I didn't have to search for it because like I started this like a comedy career and now I am visible and they find me. So I'm like, why have I ever bothered with all those like dating apps? Like I had to do all the work, but then like I stay put and then they come to me to like, if you want to get laid, you should start comedy career.
Perform in general, just perform like any performing on stage. If you're talented, you'll clean up.
Put yourself out there, basically.
Put yourself out there. Yeah. Get in a room where people have to listen to you talk. You're probably going to get laid. As long as you're not an asshole, you're not an asshole. So I love this. Okay. So you've still got a sort of stable of regular partners, even though you just lost a bunch. You've got new ones that have come in directly from your comedy career, which is also, I mean, it really sounds like you've been on a journey your whole life of finding your voice and being able to speak your truth out into the world. And in the last couple of years, you've just skyrocketed that.
Oh yeah.
And it's bringing you dick. That's great.
Yay.
Tell me about your slave.
Oh yeah. So he reached out to me online. I think it was like November last year or something. He said that I'm really his type and everything. So, but then like we had some candid conversation and turns out he is quite kinky and he wants to be enslaved. And I was like, okay, respect. And he's a very submissive guy. And I met him in person and then he was really respectful and like he was really, really into me. And he served me well, basically.
What does that mean? What does it mean that he served you well?
Well, it started with a massage.
Okay, we love that. We love a service massage. Okay, all right. And then?
He was oh my God, he's so painfully shy. So I cannot really take him anywhere. He's a domestic slave. So I met him and we hit it off. Like, it's great. Like, we had a great time. So we decided to keep things going. He messages me every day. And sometimes we have phone calls. He's my puppy. I call him puppy because he is below human. So he needs to be reminded of his standing. But he's cute. So I call him puppy. He calls me goddess. And every day he messages me in the morning. He goes, good morning. Did you sleep well? Goddess. Woof, woof. And he gets a lunch break and he was like, I hope you enjoy your lunch. Goddess. Woof, woof. And then when he's done with work, I'm about to go home. Hope you had a lovely day. Goddess. Woof, woof. And before going to bed, he's like, good night, sweet goddess. Woof, woof. Yeah.
All right. One last question for you. You're bisexual, and last time we talked, you had never had sex with a woman. Has that changed?
Not sex, but I recently made out with a girl.
Do you still have bisexual aspirations as far as exploring sex with women? Is that something you're interested in or working towards?
I identified myself as a bisexual at a very young age, around like 13, 12 or something like that. So,
Yeah, same.
I'm probably pansexual, but it's just that, the bisexual label feels like an old pair of shoes. It saves me from having to explain a lot of things. So yeah, I just go by bisexual, but I'm pretty sure I'm pansexual. But anyways, yeah, I'm still open to exploration. It's just that when it comes to sexual adventures, like I'm not as adventurous or as experimental as I used to be. But in terms of like different, like, gender expressions and different body types, like I'm all open to it. So yeah, maybe things will happen.
I have recently in my own journey gotten a lot braver with women than I used to be. I encourage you to keep going because it is very exciting. It is very exciting when you start actually letting yourself explore those desires in physical reality because it is it's so different kissing a woman than it is kissing a man. It is so different when a woman licks your pussy.
Mm.
And it's very good.
Mm.
And it's also very good to do things to them. It is a different feeling. It's like you are a buffet and I am the only customer right now. I get to eat as much as I want of this. It's so exciting. So the next time we talk, I'm encouraging you to go out there and spread your bi wings, Mina.
Yes. It's wonderful to have something to look forward to.
Hell yeah. All right. Where can people find you? How can people find your stand-up? Do you do stand-up in English as well as Korean or only Korean? Tell us all the things. Where can people find you?
I do stand-up comedy mostly in Seoul, Korea, but I am going to be performing in Busan as well. October is definitely happening. September, not sure, but I am definitely in my expansion era of raising my voice and being vocal and self-expression on stage. You can find me on Instagram at 정말mina, that is JUNGMAL.MINA. If I'm performing in English, I would put on Korean subtitle. If I perform in Korean, I will put on English subtitle. I try to make it accessible to both language speakers. I perform in both English and Korean. Sometimes I mix them when I'm doing bilingual shows. I'm actually hosting bilingual open mic this week on Thursday. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm also doing a charity show on the 22nd. All proceeds will go to North Korean defectors, refugees.
That's so cool. Where's your show on Thursday?
So that's going to happen at Taco Amigo in Itaewon. And you can find more about the show on my Instagram that I mentioned or at Seoul Stand Up.
All of these links will be in the show notes. So if you are in Seoul and you want to see Mina perform, there are multiple opportunities coming up, including one right this week on Thursday at Taco Amigo in Itaewon. And for the rest of you who aren't lucky enough to be in a place where you can catch her perform live, go check her out on Instagram. She's hysterical and sexy, and we love her. Mina, thank you so much for talking to me today. Will you come back again and give us another update in like 6 months or a year or so?
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. It's so wonderful to catch up with you. Definitely want to hang out with you again.
Oh, yes, we are birds of a feather. I hate oceans and the lack of teleportation machines. All right, Mina, thank you so much for coming on Happy Slut. I fucking love you. Mwah.
I love you too. Mwah.
Feeling so alive. So long till the sorry days. Yeah, bye.
She's a deep slut, a slut after my own heart. I love talking to this woman. She is so amazing. After our recording, she started telling me how she had left this really stressful job that she'd had for a while and started her own business. And what she's doing is basically running cultural programs that bring Koreans and foreigners together in creative, cool ways. And she's, while doing that, also fighting the tenets of patriarchy by discussing things like the women in Korea's history who have been erased from the public consciousness and how we can celebrate those heroes. It's so cool. She's so cool. I love her. All of her links are in the show notes. You can catch her if you're in Seoul this week on Saturday night at Taco Amigo in Itaewon. There are also links to other upcoming shows of hers and, of course, to her Instagram where you can catch all of her stand-up clips and follow along and cheer her on as she continues on her journey. I'll definitely be having her back. All right. The normal housekeeping at the end of the show, babies, I need you to review this show, okay? All right. I need you to review this show. If you are listening and you're not subscribed, definitely do that first, subscribe. But if you haven't reviewed, please review. It really helps get new listeners to find the show. It helps the show grow, and we want the show to grow so I can keep making it, right? So please review the show. That is my number one ask. Secondly, if you'd like to support the show financially or just get more of my work, head on over to sammyamounts.substack.com and become a paying subscriber. I release an essay about once a week. It used to be on Fridays, but I'm not good at keeping that schedule. So every week you will get an essay from me. Maybe one day I'll get organized enough to make it on a specific day. But you will get an essay a week, and half of them will be free. Half of them will be very juicy and sexy and personal, but behind paywalls. So you'll have to become a paying subscriber to read those. But I'll always give you a teaser if you're a free subscriber. So please subscribe, sammyamounts.substack.com. You can also share this episode or any other episode of the show with a friend that you think could benefit from it. That is a great way to help the show grow. I thank you for all of your support, Pinecones. I'm now, almost 5 months into this journey. April, May, June, July, August. Yeah. And it's really been a joy, and I'm excited to keep going and keep expanding the scope of the show and making it better for you. So if you've got feedback, please connect with me on social media at sammya.mounts on Instagram or at happyslutcast on Instagram or TikTok. Send me a DM, leave a comment. I read them all. I respond to them all. You can also email me your thoughts at happyslutcast@gmail.com. All right, that's all for this week. I've got another exciting conversation for you next week, but I haven't decided which of my interviews I've got banked to focus on yet. So you'll find out what it is next week. Come back. I will see you then. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Do something pleasurable and maybe a little bit naughty this weekend. Summer's almost over. We got to maximize, babies. And that's it. Yeah. Bye, sluts.